Welcome to the After Party, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Hero Lopez, bringing you my Technomancer build. There's many like it, but this one is mine, and I'm here to bring it to you. Technos are the most versatile, in my opinion, in this game and can be used for many different things. There's so many builds out there. If you just look at YouTube, it's plastered with them. Mine's not the only one. But let's get into this one because I'm just loving it. We're rocking 210k firepower on this build with 112.6 weapon damage bonus. We have 98k from the Absolute Zero and 111k from armor mods, gear, and the class choices we have that we'll show later in the video. With so many weapon choices to choose from, I usually only run the Absolute Zero, and the second could be your weapon of choice if you want to run this build. Like I said, there's many weapons out there. If you want to know how to get God tier legendaries, I'll put a link in the description below of my last video of how you can do that from Tiago. Here we're running the Absolute Zero at 98.8k with ultimate freezing bullets, Shock and Deflect freeze, which really help create space and get the extra damage from the Borealis set. And with Dark Sacrifice taking 50% of our max health in exchange for 75% weapon damage bonus, creates a huge tick, especially as our weapon damage bonus is at 112.6%. That is a massive increase that we absolutely need on this weapon since we're running only one damage tier mod when the freeze is in effect. I was wearing Blighted Beret, I was messing around with the sniper. This worked really well. It's just really hard in scenarios where you're getting rushed by enemies, but I really did like the Blight Bear whenever I chose to go the sniper route of this build. I have run Killing Spree on the Absolute Zero, but when it comes to boss fights, the Dark Sacrifice just helps so much more since Killing Spree you need to get killing shots to increase your damage by 25%, when the Dark Sacrifice is just immediate 50% for 50% of your health. And I might put the Dark Sacrifice on my Blight Bear just to see how it does. I'm pretty sure it's going to do fantastic. Going on to Sergio's Beret, we have firepower, cooldown reduction, status power. I'm trying to find a purple helmet that has short range and long range damage with mods that I can actually use on this build that I would like. But for right now, I'm using it for the mods of Sharp Eye and Bloodlust. Sharp Eye is going to get us an extra 48,267 firepower, fully stacked for 20 seconds. And Bloodlust is going to give us 52,515 for 10 seconds at fully stacked. And now that's just another increase on top of the 210k firepower coming out of our build. Hopefully before World Slayer, I can get the purple helmet with short range and long range damage. If I can get it with Sharp Eye and Bloodlust, that would be an extra benefit to throw on this build. But until then, we're rocking this with the Borealis set that gives us extra 90% damage to frozen enemies, which is why we're running the tier 3 mod on Absolute Zero. For every enemy we're engaging, we're just increasing our damage on that target since we're single target. Also, if we use Cold Snap, we give an extra 10% critical damage to all of our allies, and killing frozen enemies by the skill makes them explode, dealing 252,000 damage. On top of that, we have Crit Stack on here. When Crit Stack is hit for five times, you increase your firepower by 38,615 for 5 seconds. Now every time you're frozen enemy, you can take your time to get those criticals, boost up your firepower, and just spray into them and just watch them disappear. On the pants, we have Dum Dum bullets increasing the assault rifle damage because we want the 10% across the board on all enemies, and Freezing Boost increases our damage against frozen enemies by an extra 15%. Now, if you can find pants that are better than these to take off Freezing Boost and put another firepower damaging mod on here, that would make your firepower even harder. But this is what we're rolling with because we have the Borealis set, and these are the best pieces I could put together this time to make it to where I really enjoyed it and had a lot of fun. So right now we're walking both freezing mods, 15 and the 25, which is on the gloves. So we're going to have an extra 40% damage to frozen enemies from the actual mods and 90% from the armor. Then we can move on to the other skill, which is Blighted Rounds, because we have spare mag. Every time we reload, we have an extra cooldown, so that way we have a whole nother mag of Blighted Rounds just to be as a safety for those bosses that just don't want to go down so easily and you don't want to lose those Blighted Rounds. This is probably my worst rolled piece on this build due to max health and cooldown reduction, although the mods do make up for where it lacks in firepower on the actual attributes. And if we really needed to, we can get purple gloves, throw on the Borealis helmet, although we're not running a freezing turret, so having those mods would really not benefit us at all, which is why I went this route. On the boots, we do have that bonus firepower, close range damage, and long range damage. We're also running Euthanizer for to deal 25% more damage against enemies affected by Toxic, And we have Toxic Lead, killing shots on enemies inflicted with toxic replenish 40% of your ammo in your magazine. Now I have found that this has been just enough to keep my bladder rounds going, because I do not miss a lot. I try my best to keep my shots consecutive and stay on target, so that way I can put the target down and have that 40% chance to have that magazine and not roll into the bladder rounds extra cooldown on that magazine from the mod we have on the gloves. The best goal is to always keep the bladder rounds in the first mag. And if you can't really do it to 40%, there is another mod with bladder rounds that gives you another 30% chance to refill your mag, which brings it up to 70%, which can help you bring a cushion to get used to only running it with the 40%. If you decide to run this build, the bladder rounds are not what you need to really survive. I have a clip at the end of this video where my bladder rounds fall off and I'm still doing tremendous amounts of damage. Bladder rounds is only going to give you an extra benefit on top of what you're already doing, and that's why I run it, is because the extra benefit does make up for a nice chunk. With Bladder Turret, we place an automatic turret that deals 2,215 damage that inflicts toxic on the enemies. That turret's health depletes slowly over time and when it takes damage. This turret, every 5.6 seconds you can throw it out, applying toxic to everything in the area and giving that euthanizer bonus 25%. And also, you're getting healing off of everybody else you're hitting with this turret due to it dealing damage. Bladder rounds fills your current magazine with decay-infused bullets that inflict toxic on the enemies with a small radius and a main target. Now, this skill does away when you reload or switch weapons, is why we have Toxic Lead on here to give us that 40% of ammo. Like I said, it switches reload or swap weapons, you're going to lose bladder rounds, so you don't want to do that. You want to stay effective, you want to keep ammo in your mags, and if you do have to reload, that's why we have that cooldown magazine. Now, Cold Snap is my favorite skill on here. I've tried a lot of them. I really like Cold Snap for its ability to get me out of bad situations when enemies get too close and they're not resistant. I just pop that, take a couple steps back, and re-engage target with more space between me and them. And it's just a real good space creator. Also, if they become frozen, you're getting that 130% extra weapon damage from freeze. And every time you use Cold Snap, your team gets an extra 10% critical damage for 10 seconds. So why not run Cold Snap with the Borealis set? You're helping your team, you're getting a damage bonus, you're creating space. It's just so helpful, it's amazing, and I highly suggest you try it. If you don't like this and you still want to freeze, you can throw out the cryo turrets. And if you put the cryo turrets on, you can put the helmet on to give you 2 turrets and also make your gloves firepower, so you're running more firepower on your build in the long run. When it comes to the Technomancer class tree, I think all 3 of these trees are very versatile and very useful, no matter which way you're running. Just some are anomaly and some are firepower. The Technomancer itself with a melee skill does 9,742 damage and inflicts freeze to all enemies in a small radius. The healing mechanic, as a Technomancer, you recover a portion of the damage you deal as health, and you increase your long range weapon damage by 15%, increase skill leech by 15%, and increase weapon leech by 15%. The melee deal itself will inflict freeze to give you that 130% extra weapon damage, and the healing mechanic comes from your turret and all the damage you do, including Dark Sacrifice when it takes away to 50% health. You're also going to gain a lot of extra healing recovery due to how much more damage you'll be doing from the extra 75% weapon damage. Went to the BR8 Impact Amplifier to get the weapon damage here. We got the Sower of Decay, my apologies, to reduce decay, skill, and cooldown by 15%. Like I said, the Decay turret and the Decay bladder rounds. That turret's at 5.6 seconds right now on that cooldown. Went the wrong way there, didn't I? We could get the increased weapon leech, but we really don't need it. If you feel like you're too squishy, go ahead and jump over there. Drill coating increases armor piercing by 10%. I believe every firepower build needs armor piercing. The BLSTM Havoc Nexus increases your critical damage by 15%. There's also a bladder round mod that increases your bladder round damage by 15% if you want to try to run that. It gives you a little bit of nice damage push. And then we have Exposing Toxin. Every time Toxic is affected on an enemy, Vulnerable status is inflicted as well, which Vulnerable makes enemies take more damage. Weakness and makes them deal more damage. Vulnerability makes them take more damage. That is one of the most important things to remember. Marked for Execution. Vulnerable inflicted on enemy is 40% more effective. That means the people who are more resistant are more likely to get affected by their vulnerable, so you can spit out more damage. This is where it kind of cuts down, and a lot of people do this on the Technomancer. I've seen it because, I mean, you have bladder rounds that sprays toxic everywhere. And since so, we had the Toxicologist. Toxic inflicted on enemies last 30% longer. And we're also going to jump up and take the nitrogen capsules for a long range damage by 3 meters. another BR8 amplifier to get another 8% increased weapon damage. We ended up taking this 3 meters extra to long range damage right here, but if you do not want to take this nitrogen capsule, you don't have to. You're going to be taking the purge on the bottom anyways. There are many other skills on this tree where you only need 1 3 meter long range damage, because blur screen for extra health regeneration can help your survivability. The sniper damage can help your sniper if you are running a blight Beret on your back and you want to hit it. The grand amplification is nice, but I'm running a firepower build with only 44k anomaly power, so an extra 4% anomaly power for each BR amplifier I have really doesn't make up for it, because I'm not trying to get any anomaly power out of it anyways. I want all firepower. So I'm going to take that extra 3 meters so I can put more damage on target. Like I said, we took the purge for items affected by toxic, take 10% more damage. And another BR8 amplifier node for 8%. And right above it, we took the assault rifle master to increase our assault rifle damage by 20% and increase assault rifle drop rate by 20%. Assault weapons include assault rifle, lightweight machine gun, submachine gun, and double guns. I decided to main my assault rifle due to my absolute zero, and so I took the increased assault weapon damage. Now with my blight Beret, I would take off both 3 meter long range, add sniper master, and the sniper depth for increased sniper damage, and I get to run both of them with extra damage. I just lose the 6 meters of long range that from the nitrogen capsules to get sniper master, which is the same perks just with sniper rifles as the assault rifle class. Moving in drill coding, we got armor piercing by 10%. And then 2 sides of power, increased damage received from all sources by 15% and dealt by 20. This is what makes it a glass cannon build. If you do not like to play this way, I recommend not doing 2 sides of power and getting blur screen for the health regeneration. So that way you can be a little bit more tankier in doing damage. Either way, blur screen for tankiness, and then you have 2 sides of power for the glass cannon build. This is just how I love to play damage builds with dark sacrifice, also losing health. This does get kind of flaky in the middle when you're running a couple of bosses and you're taking a lot of damage. But if you just know how to take cover when you need to, pop out at the right times to get the healing, you'll be okay. It takes a little bit to get used to, but at the end, I think it's great for that 20% extra damage dealt. And then I gotta increase your long range damage by 30% here with sharpshooter, and I have the UT14 clips to increase my magazine size for 50% to give me an extra 50% of squishiness on the blighted rounds reload cooldown. It gives me another 20 rounds to lead it to 60 in my weapon, which is fantastic. Another purge to increase enemies damage on toxic by 15%, and an empowering antenna to activate decay increases weapon damage for you and your allies by 40% for 10 seconds. It means every 5.6 seconds you throw the blighted turret out, your team is getting a 40% extra weapon damage. And then every time you use cold snap, your team's getting an extra 10% weapon damage. Using them both at the same time, you increase your team's damage by 50%. So those bosses you run up to and just start popping all your skills, your team has an immediately 50% extra damage on top of what they're already spitting out. So that way you can put a whole bunch of rounds on target and just melt that boss through some of its mechanics. In burning the bosses down though, you do have to be very careful, because some, like Eye of the Storm, will pop out every one of their mechanics at one time. So be ready for that. When it comes to the skill Charge Gunshot, first bullet after reload deals damage with 200% increased weapon damage and can happen once every 5 seconds. Now, I haven't really been able to tell with how fast the numbers move on the screen if this is actually effective with blighted rounds. I'm going to keep testing it, but I usually take off one of the long range 3 meters to charge gunshot when I do test it, because 200% weapon damage, if it does work, every time I get a kill, it reloads my weapon, extra 200% damage on target, which you can go back and forth, hitting little guys and then hitting big guys. You could go this way to get engineered to decrease turret decay, and you could also get max health. The turret decay doesn't really make sense due to we get a 5.2 turret throw out, which is well more than enough. Your health is not going to go away on that turret. You could go down and get the max health below. Cannonade is for its own separate build. I wouldn't mess with that unless you have a build with those specific skills. And the other trees are fantastic as well. Tech Shaman can be a great team healer, team support, and Demolishing can be a great anomaly build. I'll be coming out with one of these soon, of each of these. I'm building the Technos as we speak. I really do hope y'all get some knowledge out of the build and it helps y'all improve y'all's game. And if it doesn't, I'm glad you stuck around and watched this long. And if you have any comments from me that I can change and make my build better, put them in the comment down below. I'm always free to criticisms. That way we can upgrade our game together. It's all it's about. When World Slayer comes out, it's going to be us as a team against the World Slayer. And we got to work together to get it done. So let me know where I can improve. and I can help y'all improve. And that way we work together to build the best builds to have the most damage. And when World Slayer comes out, we can run through it and get better gear and make new videos about the cool new level 70 gear we'll be getting with the 3 mods. I hope everyone has a fantastic day. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to put some extra scenes in the back of this video. That way y'all can all check out what happens when bladder rounds fall off, what happens whenever I use my bladder rounds, what damage you're seeing on a regular basis, instead of me just showing you one 3 million clip, so that way you can get a better idea of what you're going to be working with if you decide to go this route. Once again, I hope you all have a great day. If you like this video, hit that like and subscribe down at the bottom. My name's Hero Lopez. You're here with the after party. We're here for a good time. Y'all enjoy yourselves and go kick ass.
I just hit a 3.3 million headshot. Still hit 71K.
Yeah,
I
never look at my damage numbers during the game. I just don't have the focus for it.
Well, I'm shooting so like slow, methodically. Picking my shots, trying to get these criticals. That's what I'm seeing. Didn't make it.
Girl.
Damn, she just couldn't take it.
She could.
Outrider.
Got him.
Got him.
Boom, boom, son.